Hey, welcome to Things I Learned Last Night. This is a comedy podcast where Tim teaches me, Jaron, something new every single week. And this week, we're learning about Jerry Jacobson.
Yeah, and the Monopoly game at McDonald's. I don't know if you played that one. It's kind of an old one, but it's coming back. It's making a
If you're our age, old, decrepit, then you'll remember that. And if you're young and spry, then nothing matters to you. So... this comes out June 3rd.
June 3rd. Happy June 3rd.
The church comedy tour starts this week. Come hang out. Yeah. Explosions and YouTube-y stuff. Come hang out. And I'll be in Jacksonville, Florida tomorrow.
Wow.
Just kidding. Thursday, the 5th.
Yes.
And then Friday, I'll be in... Could you just roll the dates over the thing? I honestly can't remember where I'll be.
I don't know where I'll be.
In Florida, North Carolina, Ohio, Texas, all that stuff this month in June. So if you're just now seeing this, there's probably still time because I guarantee these aren't sold out. And so would love to see you there. It would be a good time.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, it's great. Let's get it. You got any shows? What are we getting the episode, huh?
Yeah, I do. I'm on...
And also, I can't overstate this. I love being here.
No, he doesn't.
I love doing the show.
I don't think so. I'm going to be honest. I don't think he does.
Let's get into it.
Hey, man.
Hi. What's up, man? Can I just say that I am so excited to do this podcast with you. And that I love being here.
Okay. Have you ever heard
of... got a YouTube comment and someone was they were like, it feels like the show really fell off and it seems like Jaron doesn't even want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
It seems like he seems mad that he has to do this podcast. You think I do anything against my will? Of course I don't want to be here. Come on. So I'm trying to be happier. I'm trying to be, hey, listen, can I be honest with it? Can I be vulnerable for a second about what it actually is? I'm depressed. I'm not. Here's the thing. Following dreams is a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's made even more difficult when the... What? You don't even know what I'm going to say.
I know what you're going to say. I agree.
I don't think you know what I'm going to say.
Okay, tell me what you're going to say.
I was going to say it's made even more difficult when the person you're following that dream with kind of sucks. And if that's how you feel...
Yeah, I feel the
same. No, I was going to say following a dream, like stand-up or like trying to build this podcast, is difficult because we started in 2017 and then we have good growth. And then the way that you grew through social media completely changed.
Yeah.
And I'm not whining. That's the part of the gig, figuring out what works. Yeah. But then it used to be that social media would do one change every couple of years. Now they're just changing it every couple of weeks because they don't know what the algorithm is anymore.
Yeah, they're like, we've lost control of it.
100% though, like not even joking.
Yeah.
And so it made it so that our creativity was then geared toward trying to get on the algorithm. Yeah. And I do agree. I don't think the show fell off, but we've talked. I do think we had a moment where we were trying to figure out what would help us grow and hit the algorithm. But then as we did that, they started changing it so often and so much that it's almost like when you get drifted offshore. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're so far away from shore that you're like, wait, how did I get here? And that's not, as a creative person, I want to be able to do creative stuff like the podcast. I want to be able to do my stand-up. But there used to be some simple structures that you knew you were making progress and doing the right things and moving in the right direction. Now all those things are just muddled. So if it seems like I'm sad sometimes, it's because I am. And that's okay. It's okay to be sad.
Why don't you cry about it?
No.
Well, no, I agree. I think we were at a spot where we were kind of catching some wind. And then our wings got clipped by some algorithm changes and some changes, not just to the algorithm, but to like
my career got
Apple,
clipped by COVID, like freaking
the Apple Podcast app. And I think we tried to pivot to
YouTube forward.
Do YouTube, and in that pivot, I think we pendulum swung a little too hard.
Yeah.
And so we heard you. We have heard you. We've read your comments.
For real though, we do listen to your feedback. We're trying to figure out, because you guys aren't going to share it with your friends. We got to figure out how to find new listeners, because you guys refuse to help us do your
job.
If you're not going to do your part, the show's going to get worse and worse. I'm joking. Come on, I'm joking.
We know you don't have friends.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Comply. Share
Comply.
Don't share this episode, because the beginning of this one's kind of insider lingo.
It's
and
kind of a little.
Sucks. If you're a new person,
if you're brand new,
you see what I'm saying?
Welcome to the show.
What's the option? We gotta sacrifice complete new people to satisfy the regs.
The regs. Listen here, regs.
The other side of this too is that we used to film like every week when I lived in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And now we film like once every couple weeks.
Yeah.
And we film like 2 or 3 episodes.
I mean, it's closer to once a month.
Yeah, but I'm saying like now we are riding.
We're cramming.
No, we're not even cramming. I'm saying now it's like this weird thing where if we show up on our one day to shoot and there's just some weird energy, whether I'm off or you're off or we're both off, then that's like 3 episodes it's off. So that's something that's been a learning curve as well. Yeah. All of that to say,
which is why we've been getting into supplements.
That's what I was just going to pivot to. Athletic Greens. Not an official sponsor, but I'll tell you who's not an official sponsor as well. Anybody. And is it that the show has fallen off, or is it that I have personally fallen into a deep crevasse of my own making that I cannot climb out of? What is it, listener? Oh, gods of the algorithm.
Anyways,
theme song. Roll the intro. McDonald's like, whoa.
They were like, please don't tell anyone.
You're telling me. You're telling me that somebody rigged the game? No. Not a game. No. He either has a very large bladder, or this guy's stealing the tickets. Things I learned last night. Anyway.
Yeah. Hey, man. Have you ever heard of...
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of online data brokers? This episode is brought to you by Incogni.
That is not where I thought that sentence was going. I thought you were saying online dating.
Have you ever heard of online dating? No. Have you ever heard of Jerome P. Jacobson?
Jerome P. Jacobson. The fact that there's a middle initial.
Yeah, you know what the P stands for?
Power.
Uncle Jerry.
Sure.
He goes by Uncle Jerry. The P I don't think stands for Uncle Jerry.
Jerome P.
Yeah, it's probably Peter or Paul or
Jerome P. what?
Patrick Jacobson. Jerome P. Jacobson. You want to see him?
Sure.
All right, let's take a look, see if you can guess what he does.
I can't wait to see this picture. I love being here so much. Is this guy a politician?
No.
Okay,
absolutely not.
So this is not the guy that's like that meme where he's like taking the headphones off, where he's like,
no, absolutely not.
Okay. You want to try to zoom out? You got a picture that's a little further away from his head?
I do actually. I do, but it's a little bit more current. I don't know if this changes much.
Okay. I don't even know why this is funny to you. It's just a picture of an older guy.
But it's like 30-year change.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because this is a good photo. Like, and he seems significantly younger. It's just here's the thing.
You're saying that this is a good photo from 30 years ago.
Yeah, here's the deal. We had good.
This photo's 30 years ago, and he seems significantly younger.
No. It's a good photo. That's what I'm saying. Is because we didn't have high def television in the 90s, it like kind of makes
warps your perception.
Yeah, it makes you feel like, oh, back then we didn't have good cameras, but we did. We could take really good pictures, but.
We couldn't, though. We as individuals couldn't.
Yeah, you had to be
most
rich.
of the pictures you looked at
you had to be times.
Were low quality because we were using digital cameras or our Nokia flip phone.
Or even the CVS disposables.
Which are making a comeback.
Yeah, it's kind of lame.
Okay.
I get the nostalgia, but it's lame.
I don't think it's lame at all. I think nothing's lame. I think everything is joyful and good.
See this? You know how we were talking about pendulum swinging too far? That's what Jared's doing today. He's trying to be super positive. But I'm going to be honest with you.
World, man.
I know what's going on in that little heart of his. It ain't that positive.
And it's rage and anger.
Rage.
And one day it'll be vengeance.
Okay, anyways, have you ever heard of Michael Hoover?
Yes.
It's not that one.
Okay.
Not that one.
So Jerome P. Jacobson.
Yeah, we started talking about him. I realized let's not. I'm switching.
Okay, Michael Hoover. Who's Michael Hoover?
Michael Hoover. So Michael Hoover, here's a picture of him. You're going to know.
Changing. Okay,
You're going to know immediately when you see him what he's known for. This is Michael Hoover.
Okay. So he won something.
Yeah. He won. I don't know if you can read that. It says $1 million.
You don't think I can read the gigantic letters that say $1 million? I thought you were talking about the stuff up top. Nope, can't read that.
So this is a photo of Michael Hoover holding up $1 million check.
And this is this is a photo from 2001. To be fair, this photo is bad.
Yeah.
Compared
this
to
is
the
a
other
bad photo. You're right. Correct. That is correct.
Okay.
And so this is August 3rd, 2001.
If you're listening, Michael Hoover looks like Gary Jerry Larry from Parks and Rec.
Actually, very accurate. But yeah, he is a winner of the McDonald's Monopoly
Alex,
game.
could you quit yawning? You're really stealing my vibe of I was really on a good high and I was really enjoying being here, but then you yawned and now I'm angry. All the vengeance in my heart is boiled over the top and it's pouring out my mouth into this microphone. This show's really falling off.
You know, honestly.
Hey, do the comments get under my skin? No. Honestly, I just let them roll off my back.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I just let them go. I don't even think about them. Certainly not at 2 a.m. Tell you that. I'll tell you what. The last thing I'm thinking about at 2 a.m. is your comments on the YouTube channel. That was a lot. That was the last bit we're doing. That was it. We'll do different
All
bits
right,
now.
we're serious. The rest of the service.
Michael Hoover won $1 million.
Yeah, so he won $1 million. This is the McDonald's Monopoly game. You remember the McDonald's Monopoly game?
And he was one of the people who gamed it.
Well, here's the deal. So this was broadcast on television. He won the game.
Okay.
And so he came to, I believe this was New Jersey where he won.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, we want to put you on TV. Like, it's $1 million prize. This was a big one. Like, they had done the prizes, but the $1 million single prize.
I see. That's McDonald's fries and all that.
Yeah.
That's what that logo is up there.
This was a big one. So they said, we want to have you on TV for the award.
I see what we're doing.
So he shows up. They get the check. There's the TV crew is there. This is out front of a McDonald's, which also behind there is not a McDonald's. So I think it's the other end of the parking lot, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But all the McDonald's employees are there behind the camera, like excited for him.
I'll be real. This guy looks like me before I lost the weight. Like if we put it side by side.
I don't know if that's true.
I think it is. You don't think so?
Maybe if before you lost weight and then you aged a while, maybe.
That's what I'm saying.
I think that
Larry
Terry Gary was very accurate. And I don't think you look like Larry Terry Gary. Barry.
Okay. All right, if you say so. I'm just saying the face is the shape.
Yeah, I mean, a similar face shape. I watch a lot to prep for this.
Okay.
And I thought, you know what would be a good source for this? Tom Segura telling the story to Joe Rogan on Joe's podcast back when Joe only interviewed comedians or primarily, you know, but it was fat Segura.
It's kind of alarming when you see somebody.
It is. Yeah, it is.
And you go, whoa.
But he brought it up. He's like, yeah, you remember the McDonald's Monopoly game? And Joe legitimately was like, no, what's that? And he's like, oh, I forgot you're like healthy. And he's like, yeah, I don't eat that. And he like I don't know if he was faking it, but it seemed like he genuinely had no idea what the Monopoly thing was at McDonald's, which is crazy to me. I don't know how you, like, even if you don't eat it, like, I don't know how you missed that.
Bro,
that was a big
when I was in high school, I would go to Casey's. If you're not from the Midwest, Casey's gas station, the breakfast pizza elite. So I would go to
Casey's Pizzas are garbage, and I don't respect anyone.
I didn't say Casey's Pizzas. I said Casey's breakfast. Have you had the breakfast pizza?
I haven't had their breakfast pizza,
bro. I
can't tell you their pizza.
I understand having a differing opinion on like their pizza because the marinara to cheese ratio is different.
What's marinara?
Sorry, pizza sauce to cheese ratio is different. And like the pepperonis they use, I get it. I understand your qualm with that.
Yeah.
You need to try their breakfast pizza because it is elite.
What is it?
Okay, so it's their pizza dough, and then on top of it is it's breakfast. It's breakfast pizza. You know what I'm talking about?
And if you use code TILLN, you'll get 20%.
Get the sausage. It's sausage, egg, and cheese.
Yeah.
With like a cheese sauce. It's very, very good. But anyway, when I was in high school, I used to go to Casey's in the morning. I lived across the street from the high school. So this is me driving into town. This is not me on my way. This is me. I lived across the street from the high school.
And then parking at home, pulling in the garage.
I would leave for school half an hour early to go to Casey's. And I would get a slice of breakfast pizza, a donut, and 2 Mountain Dew Voltage, the blue ones.
Heck yeah.
And then I would drive to school while I ate the pizza. And then I would eat that donut in class, right? Because so everyone would know.
So everyone would know.
And then it was summer school, so we'd get out at lunchtime. I had like an after summer school thing. So I had like I had between 12 and 1. I had to be back at the school at 1. So at 12, I would go to McDonald's and I would get the number 2, which is the 2 McDoubles.
Yeah.
And fries and a large Coke. Yeah. And I did that every day.
Yeah, that's hurts.
In high school.
That hurts me now.
That's what I'm saying.
Think about. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah.
But I never won anything for it. You know?
You what?
I never won anything for it.
Oh, yeah. They weren't giving you prizes for it back then.
Yeah, but they might owe me compensation for what they did to me.
There is a guy who tried to sue McDonald's over this competition.
Yeah. Are we talking about the scandal of the competition then? Is that the episode?
I don't know.
Okay.
But there was a guy who tried to sue him because he basically made that statement. He's like, you're tricking people into becoming less healthy. And he lost because they were like, it's advertising. Who cares?
And they're like, also, it's bad for you.
Yeah, everybody knows McDonald's is bad for you.
Dude, there's like these fitness influencers right now. Like their main thing is like helping you figure out how to eat like high protein, low calorie options when you go out to eat. Because protein's like the fiber of the days right now. What was it a couple years ago? It was like getting your greens or whatever. Like everyone's talking about your protein goal now. That's what they're all talking about. So they've moved on from keto and now it's just maximizing your protein input, which is good and fine, whatever. But anyway, they're talking about like, here's a meal from McDonald's for 700 calories and 30 grams of protein. And I'm like, that is not a good ratio. That's a normal, that's still a bad, and that's like bad, you know? But anyway.
Yeah, so this guy, he gets called.
So Michael Hoover, who's a beautiful man.
Yeah.
Handsome man. That's why we got off on this tangent.
Really glazing him up.
I'm just happy to be here.
So he won the $1 million in Monopoly. In 2001, they had single sticker, which if you don't know how the Monopoly game works, maybe I should explain it real quick.
That might help.
There was a game Monopoly ran. It started in like the late 80s, early 90s, and they still run it occasionally. Like it was huge for a while, fell off.
Now they run it through the app. Now it's like an app thing.
Yeah, fell off, and now it's like still chugging along a little bit.
You could peel if you've never played Monopoly, it's Monopoly. You know? And then so on the fries and the drinks and certain sandwiches, because if you can get the Big Mac, it had it on the box.
Yeah, on the box,
You would peel off
this little sticker.
Yeah, and it would be two Monopoly pieces. So it would be like railroad piece and then whatever avenue,
like Park
right?
Place or whatever,
Yeah.
And the point was they had like a little board you could pick up, and it was just like Monopoly. If you collected all the pieces for any segment, there was like a prize that went with it.
Yeah. So if you collected, for example, Connecticut Avenue, Vermont Avenue, and Oriental Avenue, which those are the 3 light blue colors, then you win fuel for a year from Shell, right? Yeah.
So there's random prizes, random cash prizes.
But you gotta collect what's all the railroads? 5,000 from Target. If you get all 4 railroads.
Yeah, you get early access on Black Friday to Target.
Is that really one of the things?
That's what it says. It says
early access on only 10 slots available. Wow, they're
honestly
being generous though.
Honestly though, can you imagine going on Black Friday to Target and getting to walk in before doors open? Like back in like the heyday of Black Friday. Yeah. Holy cow. So what a prize.
And this was, what year is this board? Do you know?
I don't know what year this specific board is. But yeah, so there's different prizes for each section of the board that you collect. You could collect as much as you want. But obviously some pieces are more rare than others. And then of course, the dark blues, just like in Monopoly, are the most valuable. That's the $1 million prize. And so this is what Hoover won. Hoover won the $1 million prize.
Yep.
And they call him up. They say, "Hey, we want to put you on TV. Come out to this local McDonald's." And so he comes out to the McDonald's, and they have the whole staff there. They're going to do a big photo op. The TV production crew's there. Yeah. They do the whole interview and everything. It's a big deal. They do the photo ops, and then they're like, "Well, hey, thanks for coming out." And then they take their cameras off.
Okay, do I take this? Do you take the big check to the bank? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do? Like, they give you a different check.
You can cash the big checks at any Walmart, at any of the money stands.
Go like, hey, you just carry. You got it on your arm,
and they give you the $1 million in pennies. They're like, it's all we got.
And like, you're out in the parking lot doing the sign thing. You're like,
no. So the way it worked actually is all of these prizes for McDonald's were actually annuities, and so they were going to pay them out in monthly payments. And so
I have an annuity, but I need cash now.
Call JG Wentworth.
Call JP.
It's JG Wentworth.
Jerome P.
Oh,
bro. It was a callback to a thing I made earlier. Hey, could you edit this part out? I don't want to do this anymore with you. Do you understand? I'll freaking leave. Do you understand? I will go home right now. I hate being on this podcast. If I could quit tomorrow.
I hate that you're on this podcast.
I hate that I'm on this podcast, man. I moved cross country and I fly back once a month to do this, and I don't even want to.
And I hate doing it.
I hate it so much that I found a way to do this while living 1,000 miles away. That's how much I hate being here.
I'm gonna be honest, Jaron told me about this comment, and I did not realize it bothered him this much.
It doesn't. It's whatever.
We like joked about it on the phone, and then today he's just coming in really on with it.
I just decided when I saw it, I was like, I'm gonna ruin a whole episode. I don't care. That's how much like I don't like it. Like, you know how much I don't care. No, it's fun to joke about. Things are fun. So that's what I'm saying, though. It's an annuity.
Yeah, it's an annuity.
Is the other guy related to this story, or did you really pivot? Like, what's going on?
I pivoted. You didn't seem interested. So
no, he's related.
No, you just didn't seem interested. I pivoted. So he's up there. He's maybe we can do it next. I don't know. You just didn't seem excited about the guy.
I'm gonna Google him.
No, don't Google him. No. We'll save it. I can bring him back.
So soft.
I can bring him back. I'm getting ready for a baby. You can't touch a baby with hard hands. Your hands are too hard to touch that baby.
That's okay. In the early days of this show, we did like affiliate ads where we were like, hey, sign up for Grammarly and use code TILLN, and we got like 15 cents. And now we just do Patreon. It's a much better way. It's better for us as creators. It's better for you as listeners. And it's a much more fun way for us to interact. We do monthly hangouts like on Zoom. We just hang out and play games online and get to know each other. It's a really fun time. So, but still use our code TILLN at Grammarly.com because I think it's still active. We might get like a couple cents from that. Yeah. But join us on Patreon because we're having a great time.
Yeah. If you don't, we're going to have to start doing mobile game ads.
Oh, man. I haven't touched my kid more than... I want to touch that kid 6 times since he's been born. Sure, he'll be healthy.
Okay,
yeah, Tim told me I got to get vaccinated and I got to wash my hands all the time.
Yes.
He taught me how to wash my hands.
Yeah, I told him. He didn't know. He didn't know that you had to put your hands on the water.
I didn't know that. I thought
you just had to run the water.
Dude, I survived COVID just fine.
I made it this far. It can't be because I did something wrong.
Can't be that hard.
Jeez. Okay, so Michael gets this check. Michael gets this check.
Here's the thing about our editor is that I just know that Robert's going to leave this image on the screen for 20 minutes.
The whole time.
You know?
Just completely miss us. So
Robert, can you like lower the opacity on it so it's just kind of like it's like just kind of there
out
like
for 20 minutes
when we talk about it, and then it just slowly
fades back in,
fades out, and it's kind of like you can do a little wave effect on it. It's just kind of there.
So ridiculous.
Oh golly, dude, this show sucks.
So he takes the photo, does the photo op. And then they're like,
so he does the yeah.
So then they explain to him, they're like, it's an annuity.
Yeah,
Well, you
yeah,
just
yeah,
sign here, sign this document. Cool, perfect.
You can't choose to get a lump sum because is that an option or no?
Yeah. No, there's not an option.
Okay,
It's
so when you
annuity.
win in the lottery,
Yeah,
you have
the
an option of doing it an annuity or lump sum.
Yeah, no, that's not an option.
Which what's the advice to do annuity, right?
I think it's lump sum.
Okay.
I mean, I know people will tell you.
You get to keep more of it over time, though, right?
If you do annuity,
yeah.
Technically, yeah, you get to take more if it's an annuity, but
the
there's
spending
two
power
problems.
goes down.
Yeah, there's two. Yeah, the spending power goes down, and then two, if you're smart with it, you can earn more over time if you go invest it.
True.
Also, if you do the annuity and whoever's managing it goes under or disappears or whatever, like
goes under, disappear. Okay.
Yeah, you just never know what's happened.
Okay.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah. If you take
I would rather take it and
bury it in my backyard.
Yeah.
Where I know it is.
Yeah, water it and so it grows.
My bathtub is full of dollar bills that I count the serial codes every day because I'm going to win.
I have $620 million in my bathtub.
Yeah.
But don't tell insurance.
Don't tell anybody that.
So this guy wins the check and signs the document. And then afterwards, the camera crew's putting all their camera gear away. The McDonald's workers are like, hey, congrats. Like, super happy for you. Really excited. And then they're like, hey, hold on 1 second. And then someone says like whiskey or something. And all the McDonald's workers like tear off their clothes, like tear away clothes. And then the camera gear people, they pull out their cameras, but they're actually guns. And turns out it's the FBI. It wasn't.
So this guy, what are you talking about? The FBI got him?
Yeah, so none of it was real. All the McDonald's workers.
Wait, what?
The TV crew, none of them were actually the TV crew of the McDonald's. He thought he was on TV. This wasn't actually on TV. This was, they took the picture. They were like, we got the guy. LOL. He thinks he's on TV right now. And so that's why this picture's so bad. Is because
the FBI evidence?
It's because the FBI was like, this guy thinks he's on TV right now. What a loser.
Wait, you're serious?
Dead serious.
They were like...
So they were like, yeah, come...
They're like, thanks, Michael. Anyway, have a good day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it was literally everybody there. The McDonald's employees, the TV crew, every single person there was actually the FBI, and they were all undercover. And he thought he was like there to get his check, but he was there to go to jail. And so they arrest him, and he was
for what?
For winning, obviously. McDonald's was mad.
And they were like, hey, just kidding. You got the go to jail card. Yeah, we put a go to jail card in the Monopoly game. And so if you pull it, it's like, I pulled the go to jail.
Sorry.
But it's serious.
Yeah, the United States needs money
going
somehow.
to jail.
Yeah, so he pulled the go to jail card, and the FBI had been running a sting operation because 7 years earlier, someone called and said, hey, you know that Monopoly, like called and left a tip to the FBI and said, hey, you know that Monopoly game at McDonald's? The FBI's like, yeah. And they said, hey, so you should look into the fact that everyone who's winning is related. And the guy was like, okay. And that was the whole...
Who?
The FBI. They called and left an anonymous tip.
We can do that?
So he gets arrested, and it was all because of this anonymous tip. And
how would Michael pull that off?
Well, it wasn't just him, because at the same moment, across the states, 50 people get arrested for being in this
50 people.
Yeah, for being in this ring of monopoly cheaters or scammers. I don't know what you call them. I guess scammers, maybe cheaters.
Monopoly launders?
Yeah, maybe laundering. I don't know, because they weren't technically laundering. Well, let me tell you the story. I'll just tell you this story.
Yeah,
right?
how'd they do it?
So Monopoly started doing this in the late 80s, early 90s, right?
This is a McDonald's campaign.
Yeah, this is the McDonald's campaign.
Yeah, but it's not like Monopoly started doing it. I think McDonald's licensed Monopoly, not the other way around.
No. Well, yes, McDonald's licensed Monopoly. Yes, that's right. That's
so
right.
It's not like Monopoly was like, hey, can we use your cups?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
So McDonald's started doing this in the 80s.
Did I say Monopoly started doing this? Oh.
You said it like 3 times.
Here's the deal. Their names are so similar.
Sorry, this is starting to seem like...
Yeah, it's starting to seem like Jaron doesn't want to be here.
And I just really don't want to give that impression. This is right now. I got to do what I do in marriage counseling, and I got to. Marriage counseling becomes convincing the therapist that I'm the one who's right. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. You guys go to marriage counseling.
Yeah, yeah. Where you're
you ever been to counseling with your wife?
No,
nah, dude, they're freaking killing it. They're normal and fine. We were just talking about this earlier.
Give him a couple of years.
We were like, give him a couple of years. He's been married longer than both of us, right? What year did you get married?
2019.
Oh, no, you got
I got him beat.
I mean, it's so stupid. It's a simple bit.
So McDonald's in the 80s calls up this like marketing promotions company.
Yeah.
Called, let me get you their name. I believe it's Simon something. Simon
something. Let me get you their name. I believe it's Simon.
It's
something.
Simon Marketing.
That was it, huh?
Well, I thought there was something in the middle. I knew it was something.
It's a marketing company. Let me get you their name. Simon something.
I thought it was Simon.
It's a marketing company. Simon Alvin.
I thought there was something between Simon and marketing. Turns out it was just a space.
They call Simon Marketing.
So they call Simon Marketing in the 80s.
Hey, this works out great. We have another client. The Monopoly made.
They called them in the 80s and they said, here's the deal. McDonald's, we're crushing it. We're awesome. And Simon's like, yeah, you guys are. And they're like, we need more children in our restaurants. And Simon was like, we know just the thing. So Simon invented the Happy Meal for them.
Yeah.
And obviously the Happy Meal was a huge hit. And so after that, the success of that
When
campaign,
did they do those Ronald McDonald VHSs? You know what I'm talking about?
Those were so sick. Where it was like live action and then they would turn into the cartoon. They would go down the slide and then it was a cartoon.
Yep.
Freaking
And they
sick.
had cassettes. They did songs.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
dope. That was really good. If you missed out on that, that's why you're sad.
Cassettes were plastic. How do you even describe them?
They were plastic prisons for some tape that you could put stuff on and it would make sounds.
Yeah.
Imagine if you taped something up and then the tape said stuff to you.
Okay.
That's a cassette tape.
You guys know. So
they were like, this was super successful.
We made the Happy Meal.
Yeah. And
now we need more adults.
That's exactly what happened. They called them and they said, hey, too many kids. They were like super successful. We made a lot of money off that, but a little bit too many kids.
Okay.
We need some more adults. And they said, you know what adults love? Gambling. And so they said, but gambling is illegal. So instead, we're going to do a sweepstakes.
Yeah.
And then the nice thing about a sweepstakes is it's gambling. But if you position yourself right, you can get around it.
Yeah.
And so the way they did that is, like gambling, you had to pay to enter the game, and then do you win? I don't know. Odds are you probably won't. It's an odds game.
But it's no purchase necessary.
Yeah, it's no purchase necessary. So the way they got around it is you could just walk into any McDonald's and just say, can I have a piece? And they would give you a game piece. And
Except for if you're walking into the wrong McDonald's and you're like, hey, can I have a piece? And then the guy would like put a gun on the table and you're like, oh,
Not
no,
what I
sorry.
meant.
A Monopoly piece. And then you pull out a gun that had Monopoly characters on it. And you're like, I think I went the wrong McDonald's.
The wrong McDonald's.
And he went, I think so too. And then you stared at each other like,
and he's like, I think you've seen too much.
I think you should leave. And then you turned around and you never left.
And you never left.
Sad.
Yikes. So,
you know, like talk about the McDonald's mob.
So they go and they do the whole game.
Yeah.
They invent the game. And so they're like, yeah, we'll call it Monopoly. We'll do a partnership with Monopoly. And then they were like, what if we also partnered with like every other brand? And so they started doing coupons with every other brand and like
Delta,
different,
Shell,
gift cards with brands.
Beaches.
Yeah. And then it became the game that we know today. But it was a pretty major operation. So Simon Marketing was the company that was actually executing the game. They had hired a third party, I don't know the name of this third party, to print all of these
Simon Print
tickets. Simon something printing.
Simon Printing?
Simon Printing or something. And so they hired this third party to start making the actual to print the actual pieces. And then those pieces would get shipped to the McDonald's to stick them on everything.
Yeah.
And so they start putting together the game and they realize, okay, there is a possibility internally for us to do some fraud here. And so we want to do everything we can to make sure fraud doesn't happen. So they hire a former police officer to be the chief of security on this operation. And so they're like, what we're going to do is we're going to have this police officer. He's going to, when we make these winning game pieces, he's going to have a sealed envelope of these winning game pieces, and he's going to hand deliver them to the print shops across the country. And then they're going to take those, they're going to put them, they're not going to know what piece is what. Those are going to get distributed into the printing system. And so no one's going to know what it is. And we're actually going to hire a third-party auditor to travel with our security chief at all times. So that way there's no possibility that like there's a double fail-safe. Like if this person can't cheat the system, right? And the system worked great for a little while. Until one day something strange happened. And this security chief, here, I'll show you a picture of him. His name is Jerry Jacobson.
I knew it. I hate that. Okay.
So Jerry was the security chief for this company.
Okay.
And Jerry, he was a former police officer from Florida.
Okay.
And he is hired to be the person who like mules these. Making a pretty good living. This is like 91. He's making $70,000 a year.
Yeah.
Which like adjusted for inflation, it's like 175 today. So
There's no way it's that. Really?
yeah, I'll show you the inflation calculator.
Dude, the 90s was a weird time, man.
Yeah, 70,000 in January 1990 is equivalent to $175,713.74.
You had that readily available, didn't you?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm prepared.
Dude, the 90s was crazy, man. Because like in your neighborhood, you rode your bikes around, right? When we were kids?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so like when we were kids, it was different. You could just go out in the...
Yeah, we rode way past our neighborhood.
Yeah. But I mean, like even past your neighborhood, like that's
We
the whole
crossed-
thing. When we were kids, like if you were riding your bike around town or whatever and you fell off and scraped your knee, you could go knock on a stranger's door and that adult would help you, right?
Yeah.
And now,
some of them.
no, they would. I mean, like it was pretty common trust.
I mean,
that
you lived small town America. Where I was, some adults would help you.
But I'm saying like that was a different time then, is that it was assumed that most adults would probably help you if you knocked the door. Now,
what I will say was pretty universal when we were kids, if you were in public, if you were being bad in public, most adults would reprimand you.
right.
Yeah, but now most adults mind their business, which is what we need. More adults to mind their
I was
business.
going to say, like you used to be able to knock on a stranger's door and get some help. Now kids can't do that. Because we can no longer trust those adults to not shoot those kids for trespassing. I was trying to do a bit the whole time, and you kept going off on these tangents.
I was serious.
And I was like, I got a punchline up here, dude. Like, let me get it out.
But to be fair, those kids are trespassing.
I mean, the ring footage holds up in court, Your Honor.
The ring footage shows that they walked up and they said, "Hey, do you want to buy?" And then
I have no soliciting sign.
What was I supposed to think?
Threatened. I feel threatened. And then I shot that kid.
So
it's okay to laugh at it. There's not a real
Jerome,
kid. No, don't write that down.
There's not a real kid.
Alex wrote down, probably cut, shot that kid. And I'm saying, put it in the intro.
No context.
You know why I don't like this show anymore? Is I'm being censored. Okay? I'm being
First Amendment right.
I am being cut off.
Jerome goes by Uncle Jerry. Doesn't have any nephews.
Which is weird.
It's
Weird to go by uncle when they're not really your nephews.
When they're not really your nephews. Yeah, it's weird, man.
So this guy's security.
He's security, and he loves the job. He's very excited about the job. The auditor is from an independent company, and her job is to literally just watch him. But he is like
Imagine that.
Yeah, my job is just to watch you and make sure you don't do anything weird.
Just to be here and make sure.
I just gotta make sure nothing you do is weird.
And he's like, define weird. And she's like, well, I mean, like with the Monopoly pieces. He's like, oh, okay.
I don't have to report anything weird unless it's weird with Monopoly.
She goes, hi, I'm Sarah. What is your name? And he's like, Uncle Jerry.
I gotta report that.
I do have to report that, unfortunately. Calls himself Uncle Jerry.
That's pretty weird foot to start on. Okay.
You have nieces and nephews?
No. Oh, that's another strike.
Okay.
Yeah, she just has to travel and watch him. And remember, his job is to hand deliver this stuff to make sure it doesn't get like leaked anywhere.
Right.
And so he gets like kind of obsessed with that life because now he's like he's used to be a police officer. He made a decent living. Now he's making a living. And so he's wanting to fly first class. He's like going to like all the airport lounges. He's obsessed with airport miles. And so he's constantly going in to check in at these facilities. But he like...
Me and Uncle Jerry got a lot in common.
He's like constantly going to check in at these facilities, but he doesn't have a delivery or anything. He's just going to check in because he wants to earn the miles on his airport card, his travel cards. And so he's going and doing these flights, and she has to go with him every time he goes. And so she's like, we're going again.
What's her name again?
We don't have her name.
Oh, okay.
Because she's not.
We're gonna call her Sarah.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's like, yeah, I gotta go out. And his wife is like, is he married?
Yeah, I think so.
And his wife's like, are you gonna be out this weekend? He's like, yeah. The old ball and chain wants to go to Atlanta, go take off a delivery. And she's like, I'm the ball and he's like, no, Sarah. She watches me.
Sarah, you know my work.
Yeah.
Ball and chain.
So Sarah is watching him, right?
Sarah has to watch him with
and
binoculars,
she's
no matter the distance.
Him. And she goes, he keeps driving by this house in New Jersey and calls himself the Watcher.
She's watching the Watcher.
She's watching the Watcher. All hail the Watcher of the Watcher.
All hail the Watcher of the Watcher. That's incredible. So he's doing the thing, right? This is going off for years. And then one day, he goes out to his mailbox and there's a package. And
Heck yeah.
He opens up the package and he realizes these are the seals for the envelopes that they deliver the Monopoly pieces in. Somehow, and I'm still not exactly sure how this happened, but somehow this mistakenly was shipped to him instead of to their company.
Okay.
And so when he notices this, realizes he has an option.
He looks around, he goes, Sarah?
Sarah, can you see me right now? Sarah, are you watching? You have to tell me if you're watching me.
What Sarah doesn't see won't hurt Sarah.
So he takes these seals.
Yeah.
And he just dumps a bunch of them in his coat pocket.
Obviously.
Because Sarah watches, Sarah doesn't frisk. So Sarah will never know that's in his pocket.
Okay.
And so he takes all those, he has them hidden in his pocket. In his other coat pocket, he hides a bunch of just average pieces that he collects. He collects a bunch of just normal Monopoly pieces.
Okay.
And he says, okay, we're going to go on this trip. I'm going to find an opportune time when Sarah's not looking to open up this envelope, take all the winning pieces, swap them with losing pieces, and I have the seals so I can reseal it.
So they never even get distributed.
Yeah, and so he's like, I can get them. But then he has to find a time where Sarah's not watching, because remember, her job is to watch him. And they're literally flying direct. They're landing. They're going to the facility. And so it's like an immediate, they leave the warehouse with the tickets, get on the plane, go to the land, and go straight there. And so there's not like it's not like they're staying overnight anywhere, or like there's any time where they're apart. Except for
in the lounge.
In the airport he can go to the bathroom. Yeah. And so he takes a bathroom break, and that's the one place that her, being a woman, can't go into the men's restroom. And so he goes in the men's restroom.
A pretty big oversight.
Kinda.
To have mixed gender.
Yeah, kinda. And so he goes to the men's restroom every flight. Walks in, takes the restroom break, goes into the stall, quickly opens them up, dumps out the winning pieces, dumps the fake pieces in, reseals it, walks out. She has no idea what happened. He gets really quick at this. Goes and drops them off, and now he's got all these winning pieces. At the time, there wasn't $1 million prizes. I think the highest prize was a $200,000 prize that they had in the 90s.
Okay.
But they also did have like, they had cars, they had obviously like all like the $5,000 prize, like lower cash prizes. Right. And so he had like high value prizes. And so, but he realized, well, shoot, it would be kind of suspicious.
Well, shucks.
He's like, it would probably be kind of suspicious if I started winning a bunch of these, being the guy who distributes them. Yeah. So he realizes he can't be the one to win.
Right.
And so he goes to his butcher and he tells his butcher, he says, hey, I have a $50,000 winning Monopoly piece. If you give me $10,000, I'll give you the $50,000 piece. And so he takes a $10,000 prize. The other guy gets $40,000 and he gives him the piece. And he's like, I think this could work. And so he starts distributing these to a bunch of people in his network around Atlanta where he lives.
He's not smart enough to really spread them out.
So it's all a bunch of people around in his neighborhood, his family members, his cousins, his brother-in-law. Like, it's a lot of people who have different last names but are technically still loosely related to him that he's distributing these to, and they're giving him cash. And so he kind of distributes this around. He makes a decent chunk of cash.
So this guy, just to recap the story, he is responsible for taking the pieces from where they make the winning pieces.
Yes.
To the distribution center where they're going to be put on the cups.
Yes.
And then sent out.
Yes.
And so in that process, he takes the winning pieces, puts them in his jacket, replaces them with non-winning pieces.
Correct.
Reseals it.
Correct.
And then delivers that. So the winning pieces never got delivered.
Correct.
There was never a chance you could win.
Correct.
Because all the winning pieces were held
by this one guy. Correct. Yes. And so he runs this for a couple of years. He runs out of people he can run this scheme with.
Okay.
And so he starts to realize, I'm going to need some help. And so he was kind of a mystical guy. He started going to palm readers and stuff like this to try to be like, where am I going to find the guy who's going to help me do this scheme?
Okay.
Your palm tells me, are you committing fraud?
Palm tells me that your wife's about to have a baby because these hands are soft. I got soft hands to hold my baby 4 times in the first year that it's born.
So he, on one of these trips, on one of these trips, he has a chance encounter with a guy by the name of, let me look it up.
Hoover.
This is convenient. By the name of Jerry, he meets a guy in the airport named Jerry.
He's like, "What's your name?" And the guy goes, "Jerry." He goes, "Uncle Jerry."
And he's like, "Nephew Jerry." You go by Nephew Jerry.
Yeah, I go by Nephew J. Oh.
So he meets this guy in the airport. His name's Jerry Colombo. And Jerry Colombo is very interested in this idea.
Yeah.
Because Jerry Colombo, here's a little bit about him.
He's in the Mafia.
Jerry Colombo, he lives in a town where the district where he's at, it was illegal in this district to own a strip club. But he wanted to own one. And so he started a 501(c), opened up a church, and he called it the Church of the Fuzzy Bunnies. And he had a bunch of strippers that read the Bible and then would strip. And got away with it, I guess, somehow, because he said it was a religious organization. So that's Jerry Colombo for you.
Did they have a youth group?
And so he's like, you can't discriminate
That's
against
crazy.
it. It's our faith. God came to me in a dream and told me that this is how we were going to reach a different group of people. He's like, this is a group of people that's underserved by the church. And so this is how we're reaching them. And like,
Yeah, I'm taking 10% of everything you make that night.
yeah. And
That is crazy.
So that's who this guy is. He also is a member of the Colombo crime family, which was one of the 5 mafia families in New York.
Pastors with props.
And so yeah, he's a member of this crime family that's like very famous. It like dates back to the 20s of the Mafia. And so he's obviously very interested in this.
Right.
And so he gathers a network of people to run these winning tags. And they do better because this was a little sketchy the way he was doing it. It was all people within his network. It was all people in Atlanta.
So this is like right up his alley. He's like, you know
he's
what?
all about it.
I love loopholes.
But he tells him,
I love loopholes. That's what he thought they were called. I love loopholes.
He immediately is like, you're doing this wrong because you're just doing it in Atlanta. It's just people in your network. This can easily get traced back to you.
Yeah.
And so he realizes
Anybody with half a brain could have figured that one out.
And so he gets his drug runners, and his drug runners are going across the country now.
How did I become one of those?
A drug runner?
Yeah.
Oh, you probably have a debt.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And so his drug runners.
So when I was joking about this guy being the mob, like this guy is
Colombo is the mob.
Colombo is the mob.
Colombo's one of the five mob families. He's Colombo. Yeah, the 5 crime mob families from the
90s,
from the 20s. The Colombo is one of those, and so he's a descendant of like
the
Mafia, They were in the family wars.
The ones.
Yeah, the ones you think of. But
and you could join the 6th family by joining us on Patreon.
Yeah, I'm in the mob.
That sucks.
And so Colombo, though, it's important to say Colombo was like crimey, but like he wasn't like what you think of Mafia, because like he was a little bit wannabe. Like he did some crime,
kneecaps and stuff.
He did some crime, but he was like obsessed with Scarface, and he really wanted to be an actor. Like really wanted to be an actor. And so he got one of the tickets, and it was a car that he won, and so he was super excited to win this car. It was like some sports car. I can't remember what exactly the car was, but he wins a sports car.
Trans Am.
It was a sports car.
Pontiac Trans Am.
He wins a sports car, and he actually gets featured in a commercial for winning, because McDonald's is like, we want to promote it. You won this car. And so Jerry Colombo, he gets to a Dodge Viper. There we go.
Yeah.
That's the car he wins. And so he gets featured. They're like, Jerry from Florida just won a Dodge Viper. You could be the next winner in the Monopoly games. And so that was, picture a 90s commercial. You know how they talk.
Yeah.
And so he was so pumped to be in this commercial. Also visibly in the Mafia.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody watching this could be like, no, I get it.
Yeah, he's a mob. And so
100% Italian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick before we get to the podcast, just want to make sure you know that I am going on tour in June with the Church Comedy Tour with Shama Marema and Mike Goodwin. It's going to be a really fun time. I would love for you to show up. You can find tickets for that at jaronmyers.com/shows. So all of my shows are listed there, but specifically this tour. And they told me that if you don't buy tickets to this, it's going to be 6 more weeks of Winter Jam. And they're never gonna let Mercy Me quit touring if they can't figure out how to replace them. You know what I'm saying? So you guys got to buy tickets to our tour so that they can give. The other options, just so you know, on the website for TPR is Ninja Kids. That's real. That's my competition. So I don't like them. Buy tickets to my shows. You just Google it, Ninja Kids with a Z.
Yeah.
JaronMyers.com/shows. Z.
So he distributes his guys and his drug runners, and his drug runners go across the country, and they have a pretty strict rule. Wherever they distribute one, that's it for that area. Like after that, you can't have another winner in that area. And so they start doing this, and they get, for lack of a better term, good at it.
Yeah.
And they're doing this for the better
what's the
part.
thing? Now these guys are just approaching random people, or they got people in the like.
Yeah, they're finding people and they're saying, "Hey, I have one of the winning pieces." And so there's a few ways this is going down. Like it's either like people are approaching, like somehow finding out from their network that these guys are selling the Monopoly winning tickets.
Are they selling them?
Yeah, they're selling them. So the game is, say it's a 50,000 ticket. And so the 50,000 is, okay, you give me 10,000, you get the remaining 40,000.
But do you have to give me 10,000 up front?
It's up front.
Got it.
200,000 was 45,000 up front. And so if you could manage to pay that up front, like at the end of the day, you're profiting. But also with like taxes and everything like that, you're probably not that much. And so they're finding these people, they're sourcing these people that are going to be essentially buying these tickets. It's unclear exactly if everybody who was buying knew exactly what they were buying into.
Yeah.
Because it seems like a lot of them, they were saying, "Hey, I got this winning ticket. I don't really want the notoriety. I don't want people to know I got this. So I want a cut, but I'll give you the majority if you take it and you be the person who's the face. So I'll take 10 or 45. Sure. You take the rest. So that way you can be the person who's got the face on it." And so it kind of seems like they were deceiving a lot of people, but not everybody, because there's very clearly some people who knew exactly what was
like,
going on.
this is the mob. Got it.
Yeah, got it. Love that.
Love the mob.
Like Hoover, for example. Hoover, he owned a couple defunct casinos. So he was very involved in that life, right? And so they're spreading these things around. And remember, I said that the FBI got that tip. And so what had happened is very early in this process,
Sarah was like, "Hey, boss, he either has a very large bladder or this guy's stealing the tickets."
So his brother-in-law, they get into a disagreement.
Yeah.
And he knows that he's distributing it to all his friends and family. And so he calls the FBI, puts in the anonymous tip, and literally all he says, is he's like, you should look into why everybody who's getting these winning tickets is related. And so that's the whole tip. That was the whole call. He hung up after saying that. The FBI like left it on their desk for a couple of years because they didn't have time to get to this. So like it's probably not that big of a deal.
Whatever. That's how most stuff happens, by the way.
Yeah. And so finally they pick it up, they start investigating, they start to realize, oh, these people are all connected.
Yeah.
I think something's going on here. So they managed, through looking at that group of people, to realize, they checked phone records and they realized that everyone had called Uncle Jerry. And so they wiretap Uncle Jerry's phone. Through that wiretap, they end up connecting him to Colombo. Yeah. And through that wiretap, they say, okay, we need proof to book all these guys and everyone who's involved in this and prove that they're all connected. And so what they did is they called up McDonald's and they said, "Hey, so you know this promo you're doing?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it?" And they're like, "No."
Bad.
They're like, "Actually, it's been mobbed." And so they talked to McDonald's, and McDonald's at first says, "No, actually, let it go. We don't want it.
We don't want the PR. Yeah.
And they say, just let them keep winning.
Whatever. Who cares?
We don't care. Yeah. And they're like it's people.
It's driving sales.
Yeah.
We do not care.
But the FBI,
Which that's the problem with the whole system is that corporations will prioritize their profits over what's legal and right. And they'll go, even though we know something illegal is happening, we're going to let it keep happening because it's driving our profits up.
yeah,
They don't care about you. They don't care about the rule of law. They don't care about what the rules are because the rules hinder them more than they benefit them. But the rules benefit you as the consumer. Remember that. The next time you think we should do the government completely, remember how many of the regulations keep you from getting blown up by nuclear stations that could be built just like they were in freaking Chernobyl. Think about how often you turn on your water and it's not filled with cancer-giving chemicals because of the regulations that we say, hey.
but what about the fluoride?
Think about the number of
frogs?
cavities that you don't have in your mouth. Anyway.
So the FBI is basically
McDonald's was like, hey, yeah, we know.
McDonald's
Sarah
is like,
told us.
McDonald's is like, this is a shock to us. We had no idea about this.
McDonald's
But
like, whoa.
They were like, please don't tell anyone.
You're telling me. You're telling me that somebody rigged the game? No.
No.
Not our game. No.
And
It could, whatever. You know, all's well that ends well. We're going to keep doing it. Oh, you want to investigate? Are you sure?
so the FBI is like, look, we know you
And
don't
McDonald's is
like the
like
optics of it.
semi-threatening the FBI. McDonald's like, are you sure about that? You sure you want to keep looking into it? You don't gotta.
They're like, why don't you go to the McDonald's over there on 29th and ask for a piece?
Hey. This is my restaurant. The Monopoly scam happened across the street. And I don't want you telling people.
Don't you telling anybody? Olive Garden is not doing a Monopoly game, sir. Actually, now that I'm looking in your eyes like that, I can tell that Olive Garden is doing a Monopoly game, and they're defrauding the American people with it.
Yes, they are.
And then it's on the news. It's in the newspaper the next day.
Oh,
honey, did you hear that Olive Garden is defrauding with that Monopoly game that they're doing?
I did hear that.
Honey, I'm pretty sure that was McDonald's that was doing the Monopoly game. Actually, not. I haven't heard of Olive Garden doing a Monopoly. That's a pretty big pull there. That's too much. You can't do that much. All right, let's go to church.
Yeah, I heard about that. And I heard it's got nothing to do with nephew Jerry.
With nephew Jerry. So the FBI is basically like, hey, we have to investigate this. It's kind of, fraud that's happening. And so McDonald's is like, fine, we'll cooperate. And so they're like, here's what we want you to do. We want you to do 2 new prizes. We want you to do $1 million prizes. First time they've done that. And they're like,
McDonald's like, we can't do that though.
And the FBI is like,
guys.
Yeah, you can.
Yes, you can. Just freaking listen to what I'm telling you. No one's winning.
Freaking do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Peer pressuring them.
Do it.
Here's
what
the
we're gonna do. We're gonna do $1 million prize, and the winner is gonna meet us in the desert with a helicopter, and then we're gonna let them fly away.
That was never the FBI.
That was the FBI, wasn't it?
No, I'm saying this wasn't the FBI. That was like,
yeah. Oh,
hey,
that's
it's
a scam.
us. It's the FBI.
We should pretend to be the FBI.
So they're like, hey, do the million. Do
Hello,
2 million.
Congressman.
It's me.
It's me,
The
the FBI.
There's not enough soy
I've got a
sauce.
lot to say about Shaquille O'Neal. If anyone's willing to call me back.
Oh, this episode's a mess. Jaron doesn't want to be here, though. So
I'm trying to drive this show into the ground.
So like we need you to do the $1 million prizes.
Yeah.
They've only done this a couple times before. Like the $1 million prizes are super rare. It's like, fine, we'll do $2 million prizes. And they're like, we're going to watch the phones and we're going to track them down. We're going to get them on the line talking about this. So they actually do get a phone call recording between Uncle Jerry and Nephew Jerry. And they're like, you see this new $1 million prize. We gotta make this happen. Columbo is like, I know a guy up in Jersey. He's got a casino that just went under. He's a perfect guy for this.
Yeah.
And so they set it up.
Brothers Casino just got blown up.
From,
the bomb. From that comedian
that bomb.
that performed at the senior prom at the casino. Bombed.
And so they get like
You get that call back though.
I do, yeah. Thanks for checking. I appreciate that.
The Harvey's casino bomb.
Yeah, I got that too.
In Reno?
Yeah, he got bombed.
So there was an episode we did.
You got a cool shirt. You can get it here.
I got bombed at Harvey's.
Do we still sell that shirt?
I'm sure.
That was a good one. Anyways, frig, where was I?
So Uncle Jerry,
they're
on a wire call.
Yeah,
they get wiretapped.
They catch them on the call, being like, yeah, we're going to sell this to this guy up in Jersey. They track the guy down in
How much
Jersey.
did they sell it for?
I don't know what they sold the $1 million ones for. But they sold it.
I mean, probably at least 250, 300 grand, right?
I guess so.
Okay.
And so they go up there, they like watch the whole thing happen. They get it all the evidence that they need. They're like, okay, I think we've got enough. And they say, all right, we've got 53 people that we think are involved in this. Or well, I guess we know are involved in this. And so like
Holy cow.
we need to do the arrests, but obviously like we can't do these arrests separately. They're flight risks. So these all have to happen at the exact same time. And they're like, it'd be really sweet if we do this Hoover idea. Like it'd be really like, honestly, we love the idea of tricking this guy. And so like, so we got to do that.
The FBI's like, okay, just do it. Do the $1 million prize. We need this. Like it seems like you got some ulterior motive. No. No, I just want you to do it. If you don't do it, it's gonna ruin the freaking. I'm gonna do the TV.
We got to do the TV thing.
What TV thing? Don't worry about that. You'll find out about the TV thing.
Already ordered the breakaway shirts, the breakaway McDonald's uniforms. Tearaway McDonald's uniforms. They want to do their little photo op thing.
Yeah,
really bad.
This is the only thing I'm living for. Yeah. Buddy, I found this poster's note. We got this tip 3 years ago. I just discovered it. It's the only thing I can think about.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. When we got the tip, I was like, man, wouldn't it be sweet if we could do this? That was the first thing I thought.
My wife is a counselor. We got divorced. Her life's a mess.
So
this podcast is next door. This is the only thing I've got right now.
This is all I got is this sting. So they say, okay, we have to coordinate. This has to happen all at once. Right. And so they put together a document detailing the whole case, detailing how they're going to do the arrests. And they sent this document that coordinates the whole sting operation to the local FBI offices across the country that are going to do it.
Risky.
And so
you're just trusting the local blokes.
So they say,
like, all right.
Yeah, so this is 2000. This is summer 2000. And so they fax it. And they have fax speed dial of all the FBI offices. And so they send it off to all the FBI offices. And then there's one of them where most of them, the speed dial says like Denver FBI office, New York FBI office. Like that's what their speed dial shows. Okay. But there's one that just says Greenville. And so like, well, that must be the Greenville FBI office. It was the Greenville Times. And
so they accidentally added a reporter to the FBI group chat.
They immediately noticed
discussing war plans to take down the mob.
They immediately noticed, and they wasted no time. They flew straight there to the Times, and they pulled up, and they were like, don't put that out. They're like, don't put that out.
Like,
don't put that. Please don't put that out. Please don't put that out. We have such a cool idea. Let me tell you, we have such a cool idea. I've been dreaming about this for years. My wife left me.
My wife left me. She's a counselor.
She's next to this podcast.
She's next to this podcast.
I know you don't know what that means.
You don't get what it means because right now it's the year 2000. You don't know what a podcast is.
But I know what's gonna happen.
Because I don't know if you know this, but the word podcast is actually from iPod. So Apple created the podcast. Did you know that? That's real.
It's an
Alex,
iPod broadcast.
Say no, so it gives me some joy of giving you a fact. Pretend to not know stuff. I really want to be here right now.
But I need this. Don't put this on.
But I really need you. To not publish
this. And so they strong-armed the FBI into giving them exclusive rights of the story.
Greenville was like, I'm gonna.
And they were like, we're gonna send it. And so, so they got exclusive rights.
Why would anything in my life go well?
Why would it go well?
I did everything right. I got married at 22. We had 3 kids. I got us a beautiful house. I got out of Quantico, and I was like, what's this career even mean anymore?
And he says, but if you do
I've been striving for happiness. Just send it.
And he says, but this is a homemade explosive device.
So he's threatening
to blow up the Greenville newspaper.
He's like, you know what? Actually,
I'm gonna bomb the
I don't have a bomb, but I would like to try my new stand-up material.
See how it goes. You can publish this if you want.
So the FBI.
So the FBI is like, whatever, you can get exclusive rights to the story. And they're like, we want the picture. And they're like, fine, you guys can publish the picture.
We could have got you a much higher quality picture, but sure.
Yeah, we'll give you the picture. And so
that's why it's blurry. The guy behind it was just so giddy that he was like,
he's like, I've waited so long for this.
You won $1 million, you freaking idiot.
You friggin' loser.
And he was like, what? He said, closer to the check. Okay.
And so Greenville, the Greenville Times writes up the article, and they're like, we're going to wait until the time of the arrest that's in the document to publish.
Yeah.
And so they're going to wait and whatever. And so they go out, they do the sting operation, they arrest him. 53 people got arrested. 48 pled guilty. And there's just tons of different pleas that they plea deals. Jerome, Uncle Jerry, he gets the steepest fine for this, which was 3 years in prison and $12.3 million in restitution that he has to pay. Interesting thing about that, he's still paying it. Obviously, it's a lot of money.
Yeah,
he pays monthly payments of, drumroll please, $357 a month.
What?
He's never gonna pay that off. He's never gonna pay that off. Look at him.
You're never gonna pay that off. You're never gonna pay that off at $357. You're never gonna pay it off. He's never gonna pay that. He's just gonna die. You gotta pay more. You gotta pay more than $357. You can't pay that off on $357. Why are you saying it like that? What? He's never gonna pay it off. Like what? Why did you sound like Courage the Cowardly Dog? Damn it! You sound like the Darwin from freaking Thornberries.
It's crazy. They're like, yeah, $357.
He's never gonna pay it off. Okay. These are the moments that make me really glad I'm here.
But he's.
Can we just title this episode "The One That Jaron Didn't Want to Do"?
That's pretty funny.
Jaron doesn't want to be here. So stupid. It's a dumb bit. All right.
Wow. I can't breathe.
Pay that off. How much more does he owe?
I don't know what.
Do you think there's an interest rate on it?
Probably. I just don't think there's a chance he ever pays it off because he did 3 years in prison after he got arrested, and then got out, and then just immediately $357 a month.
He's never gonna pay that off.
And he was in an interview recently. HBO put out a documentary series, a 6-part series called McMillions.
Yeah.
Tom Segura's cousin produced it. Fun fact. But in that, they asked
started
him.
looking into why everyone's related to Tom Segura.
Yeah, that's what we
His
should.
cousin, and then
should-
what's
hey, you
that?
should
What's
look
that
into
guy
why
that you
everyone's
listened
related
to
to
for a
Tom
little
Segura.
bit, and then you were like, "Wait, this guy's a quack." What was his name? He's also cousins with
Tom Segura?
Yeah.
Why did I listen to him?
I don't know. You were like, "This guy's got some smart insights," and then you were like, "Wait, he's weird."
Was it a podcast?
Yeah, Huberman. You don't know that Huberman is Segura's
Segura's
cousin.
cousin? Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. I did not know that.
yeah.
Maybe I did know that.
You do now. I
Anyways.
just told you.
I think I know that. So these
Pull up a
people.
picture of Huberman real quick.
he's Tom Segura's cousin. He's Tom Segura's cousin. He's related to Tom Segura.
All that for that, but
So not everybody that was involved in
Right.
this actually got prosecuted for it because
did they do like the whole like I didn't know what I was getting into? Like I was just
a lot of people they realized they were there wasn't enough.
they were scammed themselves.
Yeah, they were scammed. There was a lot of people where the FBI didn't have enough evidence to prosecute those people individually. They had enough for Jerry and some of the people at the top,
Yeah.
but not enough for them. And then nephew Jerry Colombo, in '98, he was driving home from church when when he got T-boned and slammed into a wall, and he didn't die in the wreck, but he later died because of his injuries.
Oh.
And the FBI has said that they're fairly confident had that accident not happened, they would have had enough evidence for everyone else who got away. And so the FBI hasn't prosecuted anyone, but there's kind of like this, like, that might have been someone.
What about Michael Hoover? What happened to him?
Michael Hoover went to jail. Yeah,
Okay.
Michael Hoover went to jail. I think it was short. It was like a month long, like 3, 6, 7 months, something like that.
Yeah.
And then he had to pay back the money he won. Or he had to pay restitution because he didn't take the whole $1 million. He had to pay restitution. But here's the thing, Jerry, this is interesting. Jerry, while this was all happening, Uncle Jerry, he was like, there's a chance I get caught for this. And so he's like, I wonder if there's something I could do that could lighten my sentence a little bit. And so he takes one of those game pieces, puts it up in an envelope, and he puts a Dallas return address on it and mails it to St. Jude's Children's Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, $1 million game piece with no like note. It doesn't have anyone's name on it. It doesn't say who it's from. It's just an authentic, like an envelope. They opened it up, authentic $1 million game piece. And so it made the news. It was huge news. Technically, in the game, you weren't allowed to transfer a card. So like technically that was against the rules. But when it hit the news and it was such a big deal, McDonald's was like
I think this guy's on to us.
McDonald's was like, fine,
Dude, what
we'll
if Jerry
give it to
had
the
given
hospital.
both $1 million away? He's like, and then he sent one to that hospital and then sent the other one to the Greenville Times. And then just included a little note that says, come and
Publish
get
it.
me.
That says publish it. And so he thought that was going to give him a lesser sentence because he's like, I helped the kids. But the jury didn't care. But the hospital did because the
You
hospital,
just give away stolen money.
like they actually got that money. They got their last annuity payment in 2014 for $50,000.
Wow.
And so that was a genuine donation that they received from McDonald's?
From McDonald's.
Or was it Jerry? I don't know. It's hard
Yeah.
to tell. But then as a result of this, McDonald's was like, this wasn't our fault. It was all those guys at Simon Marketing.
And the FBI was like, they were blaming Simon Marketing.
They were blaming Simon Marketing. It was
Simon
like, there was a
like,
leak inside Simon
"This is
Marketing.
Sarah's fault.
Yeah, and Sarah was like, it's not my fault. It was Jerry's fault. And actually, it's more your fault because I can't follow Jerry in the bathroom, even though I tried.
I tried. They
I
stopped
tried.
me.
Yeah, the people at the TSA said I couldn't come in there, and I know it was there was not much TSA then, but I was trying.
Yeah,
So,
it
anyways,
was the Toilet Security Administration.
Toilet Security Administration. So they part ways, but Simon and McDonald's both filed lawsuits against each other because they were like breach of
Sick.
contract.
This is your fault.
Yeah, and it ended up being they settled outside of court. McDonald's paid Simon Marketing $16.6 million.
Wow.
But the scandal ended up crushing Simon, and Simon ended up going out of business. And this was major news. This event was a huge deal. It was all over TV.
That's a really funny marketing idea or a great marketing idea.
Yeah.
And then it blows up. You're like, all right, well, no one's else going to hire us.
Yeah. And so this was huge television.
Change their name to McKinsey.
And everybody was watching it. Everyone was following it.
Yeah.
It was like all over the news. The 24-hour cycle was
six-part documentary.
And so
on HBO, it's made by Tom Segura's cousin.
So they expected, especially after the verdict got handed down, they expected.
Story, like, how is there a 6-part documentary? It's actually a really good documentary.
It was a good documentary.
It was good.
They expected it to be a huge deal in the news after the jury like handed down their thing, but it kind of disappeared from the news because the verdict was handed down September 10th, 2001, and something bigger happened on September 11th. And so
if you're too young to know, Google it.
And so it ended up just kind of disappearing from the common zeitgeist until it got revived for that documentary in 2018. And so when that came back out, when McMillions came out, then Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were like, let's make a movie about this. And I don't know if that's still going to happen or not, but Ben Affleck is supposedly was going to produce it or direct it. Matt Damon was going to be the star. And I don't know if that's still in the works or not, but we haven't gotten any more news about it. But yeah, this kind of disappeared until it got dug back up. Because it got overshadowed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the story about how Jerry, that guy that I brought up at the beginning, it ended. The number on paper was $23 million that he had leaked out. There wasn't a single winner in the time he was doing this for about 10 years. That was an authentic winner of the game because he was.
But there were
all the
authentic winners
pieces.
before.
They're authentic winners before. And so once he started doing it, from the time he started doing it, which I think was about 94 to 2000, when he got convicted, no one who won was an authentic winner because he took all the winning pieces. And so it was impossible to win the game. And everybody out there was trying.
And that is also the message. It's impossible to win the game. Everyone's trying, but you can't win.
But yeah, the estimate is 23 million. Some say that that's probably lower than it actually was. Some people say that the 53, there's probably a lot more that didn't get indicted that we don't know about. And some people say that he also has money buried somewhere. So see if you can find it.
Yeah, that's what he's pulling out $357 a month from. He's like, oh, he did.
Dig up my treasure.
Well, it'd be suspicious if I just paid off the $12 million.
It would be. You can't be suspicious. And so I have $30 million in cash buried beneath the doghouse in my backyard.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uncle Jerry.
We gotta start scamming, dude.
Yeah. If only someone would accidentally mail us seals and we were in a position of power where we were making $170,000 a year to make sure that none of this stuff got leaked out. So anyways, if you want to hire me, I'm good at that. Whatever that is.
Fiddle off. Hey, and thanks for being here for this episode of Things I Learned Last Night. If you liked it and you want more of it, we've got more of it. There was an episode we talked about in this one called The Harvey Casino Bombing. A mysterious bomb was just placed inside this casino with a little letter that was like, I'm a bomb. And the FBI was like, I don't know about that. And it was a really funny episode, a great story. And you should go check that out. It's linked somewhere in the description or on the video. You know where to find it. You're capable. You're a grown adult. All right. Or if you're like one of our 9-year-old fans, get your mom to find it. And you know what else your mom can do for you is she can sign you up for Patreon where you can get next week's episode right now. You can get all of our stuff ad free, and we have a Discord where we do like monthly hangouts. That's actually super fun. We get to hang out on Discord, video call, and just kind of get to chat and become friends. It's a really good time. So please do that. This is an Evergreen Podcast Network podcast. Evergreen Podcast Network podcast. You can check out their shows at evergreenpodcasts.com. And as always, on Tuesdays, we'll be here next week. So thanks for liking and subscribing and all that stuff. You probably, you hit the 30-second skip forward thing. And so you didn't listen to any of this. But I'm glad that you exist. And I'm super grateful to be here. So see you next week on Things I Learned Last Night. and the week after, and the week after that, and probably the week after that, because I'm forced to do this. I'm forced to do this to pay back my debts of soy sauce that I've taken from Panda Express. They sent Shaquille O'Neal to my house. He towered over me, looked down, and said, "You will pay." I had to pay $357 a month in soy sauce currency. Do you know what the current exchange rate is?
It's crazy.
For the U.S. I love that the film music's just kind of.
Shaq is just the Panda Express soy
Shaq
sauce
he's the enforcer, dude.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know he's invested in Panda. That's his role.